guys, D.Coward coming to you today, and I want to talk about how do you know when you're going in the right direction? In other words, how do you know that you're making the right decisions? Well, decision making is something that you do the best you can with the information that you know for now, and then when you learn better, you do better. So when you're making a good decision, what you want to do is you want to weigh out all the things that you know that are possibly good for you on this side. You want to move in that direction. If it feels bad, you want to move in that direction. Making decisions is something that, you know, at the end of it, you only know that you did good once you get to the end of it. But as you are starting to pursue that direction, sometimes you will have what's called pointers. And what pointers do is they direct your steps. They tell you, yes, you should be doing this, or no, you should not be doing that. I hear people say all the time, well, this happened to me, or that happened to me, and this happened to me. And I merely say to them, well, that's what we call a pointer. It tells you, yes, you are going in the right direction, or perhaps you should turn around and go in the other direction. When you're making decisions about things, you should never have to kick a door open. Things should come to you, not to say that you don't have to work, but they should come with some level of ease. If you prepare yourself, and i.e. if you've studied, if you have worked out, if you have did all your due diligence for it, then when you are making a decision about it and moving in that direction, it should flow fairly smoothly for you. That's how you know it's the right direction for you. If, however, once you have prepared, in other words, you've studied, you've been on time, you did everything that you needed to do, and you are moving in that direction and it still is not working for you, that's an indication that you should not be going in that direction. I know that sounds very simple, but I hear people all the time crying or saying that, you know, I'm doing everything I can, I'm just pushing and pushing and pushing in that direction. I have to ask them, perhaps you should be thinking about, are you even moving in the right direction? Because God, through the universe, has a way of giving us directives and ordering our steps. Another way to know that you're moving in the right direction is you may have different things that are happening. Say that, you know, you have been thinking about the number 12. I'm just throwing something out randomly. You might be thinking about the number 12 or the word Tuesday or a particular person's name. And all of a sudden you walk up to that place and you meet that person and it's Tuesday the 12th. And you're like, I know I'm supposed to be right here. There are no coincidences. There are no serendipitous moments. Like there's nothing that happens in your life that is a happenstance. Everything that happens in your life actually directs you in a direction and tells you this is the way that I want you to go. So when you're making your decisions and trying to ask yourself, am I doing the right thing? You will know. How do you know when you're doing the wrong thing? Well, you have what's called a check in your spirit, or you just, your inner gut, your inner instinct just sort of says, don't do that. Things happen, i.e. you get a flat tire on the way to getting there, or you know, you get up that morning and you burn your head because while you're trying to curl your head, or you know, you stub your toe on the bed, and you are prepared to do everything. And those are the times you have to stop and just say, okay, Lord, am I supposed to be doing this right now? Because it's just way too many things happening that's saying to me, stop, wait a minute, and breathe. So what if you're in the middle of making a decision and in the middle of the decision, you have to do something right then? I tell people do this all the time. I say, fleece the Lord. In other words, say to God, if you want me to do this, then show me you want me to do this. There's a story in the Bible. You know, I love to use the stories in the Bible. And I can't recall who it is off the top of my head, but he said to God, if you want me to do this, then let there be dew on the ground in the morning when I wake up. And when he got there, there was dew on the ground. So he didn't know. So he said the next morning, he said, well, Lord, if this is really you talking to me, then in the morning, let me wake up and let the grass be dry. And he went back and the grass was dry. And so that's called fleecing the Lord. In other words, you can say to God, can you give me some sign, some direction? Can you tell me something that tells me that I am moving in the right direction? And all kinds of things happen to sort of fleece God, to ask him, you know, can you give me some direction? Something happened to me just recently where I was qualified to do something that I really wasn't supposed to be qualified to do. And I called the lady and I was like, look, let me show you, I'm gonna tell you everything that's wrong with my scenario. And if I'm qualified for it, then I'm qualified. If I'm not qualified for it, then I'm not qualified. And I just said to God, I said, Lord, if this is for me, then you're going to open the door for me. If it's not for me, then I'm just going to relax and let it go. And the lady says to me on the phone, she said, well, your stuff is expired and you're just outside of the window, but we're going to do you a favor and we're going to let you go through. And I'm like, yes. So then I knew that this was the direction that I needed to be going in. And it was something that I had asked God about and asked him, is this what you want me to do and where you want me to be going? When you are in the right direction, things will line up systematically for you. You can look around and all of a sudden, all of the stuff that you thought was going to be a challenge for you, it's just laid out for you. It's easy for you. It flows for you. There's no kicking the doors. I tell people you should never have to kick a door in to get to where you need to be. It says your gift makes room for you. Wherever you're supposed to be, there's going to be room for your gift. There's going to be room for you to come. You're going to be celebrated when you walk in. People should be celebrating your presence when you get there. The jobs that you go to, when you get there for the houses, when you get there for all the things that you think that you want to be a part of, they should celebrate your presence. That's another indication that you have made the right decision. If you are in an environment where they're not celebrating your presence, where they're not respecting the knowledge that you bring to the table, the information that you bring to the table, perhaps you are at the wrong table. You may be seated at the wrong table, and therefore you haven't made a good decision. The thing about making decisions is it is okay for you to recant your decision. It's okay for you to say, I made a mistake. You know, I thought this is what I was going to be doing, but this is what I need to do. And the phrase that pays, y'all, is in the spirit of learning, this is what I'm going to do. So I've heard people say all the time to me, well, you know what? You said this a year ago, but now you want to change. That was a year ago. You know, I have changed a year ago. A year later, I have changed. And so I merely say to them, in the spirit of learning, this is what I'm going to do now. So I let them know that this is what I'm doing right now. And what the spirit of learning means that I have new information that has been brought to the table. And I brought that up earlier where, you know, you have old information that you are making decisions on. Well, you make this decision on the old information. Of course, as you grow, you get more information. And as you gain more information, you can make a more, we call, informed decision. So now all of a sudden you have an informed decision and you can look around and say, no, that's not a good idea for me right now. Oh, and this is another wonderful phrase that pays is, it's not a good fit. When you are recanting a decision that you made, in other words, when you're coming out and saying that you've decided you don't want to do it anymore, you merely say to the person, it's just not a good fit. Now, what that does is it gives you an out. And when you say it's not a good fit, you just merely say it and you get up and you walk away. You don't have to explain anything. You don't have to tell anybody why it's not a good fit. You don't allow them to give you a rebuttal as to why they think it's not a good fit, because at the end of the day, remember, it's about what makes you a better person and you a better version of you. So you're able to say, this is not a good fit, and you just get up and you just sort of dismiss yourself at that point. You just shake your hand. I'll tell you what it looks like. You just say, oh, well, it's just not a good fit. Yeah, you're silent at that point. You just allow yourself to be silent. Don't say nothing, just silence at that point, and you're able to walk away. And guess what? You just got yourself out of all kinds of stuff. And trust me, I learned that phrase about 3 years ago, and it has worked miracles in my life. I have been able to go to people that I had made commitments with because I made a bad decision, and I was able to go back to them and say, it's just not a good fit. And it works. It really does. So I hope that helps you on how to make decisions and how to get out of decisions that you have made that don't really work for you anymore. I hope that helps you to understand when you're making the right decisions and when you're making good decisions or bad decisions. And at the end of the day, like I started off when I said earlier, you really don't know if you're making all the right decisions, because there are many times that you'll stand at the crossroad and you got to make a decision. You're like right in the middle of the road and you got to decide something. And I tell you, like my mama said, she said, I don't care what you do. Just make a decision. Do something. In other words, don't just stand there. Do something. Don't have me waiting on you. So I want to encourage you today and say the whole world is waiting on you to make a decision. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. Just make a decision. And when you make the decision, if it's not a good fit, you can merely tell them it's not a good fit. And you can also use, well, in the spirit of learning, this is what I've decided to do. And don't feel bad about it. Keep it moving. Remember, you have 24 hours in a day to make decisions about things, to do things. If you find yourself overcommitted, come back and recant and say, I'm overcommitted. I really can't do that. It's okay for you to decide not to participate in things. It's okay for you to decide not to do it. Even if you tell somebody that you're going to do it, you can always come back and say, and let me help you with that. I hear you saying, well, you have to be a person of your word. Remember, in the spirit of learning, what I told you 6 months ago and what I know today, I'm not staying in that commitment. You don't have to stay committed to something that you know is not feeling good for you and it's not working for you. How do you know it's not working for you? There's no benefit from it. When you look at this situation that you made a decision on, if you're not growing as a person, if you're not developing, if it's not benefiting you, if you're losing money, if you're losing time, if you're losing energy from it, if you are in fussing and fighting and in a negative situation and it's just not working consistently, I'm not talking about one day, but consistently over the last 90 days, and that's how you look at it. Look back over the last 90 days and say, how has this worked for me over the past 90 days? Have I felt good behind this decision that I made during the past 90 days? You know, when I evaluate myself emotionally, spiritually, financially, physically, how have I been as a result of this decision that I made? Is it working for me? Is it a good fit for my life? And if it's not a good fit, don't spend another 90 days sitting in it and expecting things to get better. It is okay for you to write letters. I'll do it in a minute. I will write a letter to somebody that I made a commitment with and ask them, may I please step down out of this commitment? You can do just about anything like that and just let the people know it's just not a good fit for you. On the flip side, when you make a decision about something and it is feeling good and you do see progress, and when I say feeling good, I don't mean you feel good about it every day or you feel physically good about it. I'm just saying it's working. You know, you can see the productivity. You can see your growth. You can see your development. You can see it. You might be tired when you're doing it, but you can look around and say, man, I'm really growing as a result of this decision that I've made. So as you're making those decisions and it is growing you, then keep hanging in there until you have gotten to a place that you've gotten everything that you need from that decision. All right, so I hope you guys like this. You can feel free to comment down below. You can also subscribe and like the video and pass it on. Thanks so much, and I hope this has helped you to retool your life.